In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Count Dooku for the Legacy Collection, and he is a part of one of the 2-pack sets that was released as part of the Geonosis Battle Arena. Most of the sets came with like a Jedi or a droid, or a Jedi and a Geonosis warrior, but in this case it was Count Dooku. And the Jedi counterpart he is accompanied with is the one who throws the green lightsaber to Anakin at the very beginning of the Geonosis Battle Arena. I do not have that action figure at this point. To be honest, I'm not sure when I'm going to be getting around to that, and that's why I decided to go ahead and do the video for Dooku now, because he's very expensive on the aftermarket. And oftentimes on eBay, you might find only 1 or 2 listings of him, and those listings usually go way up in the hundreds. I do plan to get him at some point, but I'm just being very patient with it. But in the meantime, I wanted to go ahead and do this video of Dooku, and then whenever I do finally get around to getting him, I will be sure to do a complete video review of both of them together. But this Dooku is a pretty good action figure. I think he warrants having his own video anyway. Up until the recent TVC action figure of him, this was the most recent realistic 3 3/4 inch action figure of Dooku that we had. So we went from 2009 or 10 all the way to 2024 before we finally got a new Dooku. It's arguable if this is the best Dooku we've ever gotten. I think there's a very strong case for the Revenge of the Sith Count Dooku, which I do have reviewed on the channel. Up until at least the TVC one, I think that was the best Dooku. And even with the TVC action figure, I'm still a really big fan of it. It's just a great action figure to pose, and there's a lot of components about it that even the TVC action figure does not have. But this one's pretty good as well. It's actually mostly a kit bash. I do know it has a new head at least, and I'm sure there's a few other new parts as well, but I think this is the Dooku that comes with the Evolution set, where it was Maul, Tyrannus, and then Sidious. It's kind of like a Sith Legacy pack in a way. And this was one of the first Evolution sets, I think, before they really took off, and then we actually did get the Sith Legacy. Not a whole lot I can really say about this. Basically everything you see here is really all there is. But we'll talk about as much as we can. So in terms of the head sculpt, I think it's alright. It's not the closest representation to Christopher Lee, but I think it's pretty close. Try to get that camera to focus. Well, no, one thing I wish Hasbro kind of corrected is it seems like his head is in this upward angle, and that's about as low as you can get. You can't get him to really look very leveled. It's almost like he's always got his chin stuck out, and he's always looking up. Not sure if it's a design flaw with the ball point there, or if it's the head itself. I will mention I did get this action figure loose on eBay around 2019, I think, and I only paid like $30 for him, which is not a bad deal at all. Dooku here is definitely the more affordable action figure between the two. As for his cape here, in terms of a regular everyday stance for Dooku, I don't think it's that great. But if you happen to have his speeder, I think this would be a perfect Count Dooku to accommodate with that, because it's a little short. Dooku's cape is meant to be just a little bit longer, I think. But it has a certain wave to it where if you had him on his speeder and you were reenacting that scene where he was being tracked down by the Republic gunship with Anakin and Obi-Wan on board, I think you could definitely get a nice flow of this cape with this action figure, and he's articulated enough to where he should be able to fit on a speeder no problem. So I think this cape is perfect for that. Just has that appropriate wave and cut to it. And what helps that even more is for his skirt here, instead of it being plastic, it's all soft goods. So you can definitely get him in a sitting position. But this is one of those cases where I think the combination of plastic for the torso and then soft goods for the skirt, it just doesn't look 100% right. But for a utilitarian perspective, it's definitely perfect. And of course, the rest of Dooku's suit is the same as it always is. The very, I think it's considered black technically, but it's black robes here and black boots. So in terms of his articulation, he does have ball joint the head. Like I said, I wish that head was a little bit better engineered because it's like he's always in this looking up position. I suppose, again, that if you're accommodating for the speeder, that might be a good thing for it as well. You just have hinged shoulders and elbows, swivel wrists, swivel waist, and swivel hips, I think. Yeah. Then hinged knees, and then hinged ankles, I think. Yeah. So super articulated for the time. In terms of accessories, I suppose you could count his cape here. You would have to pop his head off. And you kind of see what I mean. That is an option for you. It does have the what's supposed to be a chain right there. And of course, his signature lightsaber. The curved hilt. And that's because Dooku is known for being a fencer. But that's pretty much all I can tell you about this Count Dooku action figure. We'll bring out his TVC counterpart, and we'll see the evolution of what 14, 15 years can do. Yeah, definitely a big difference. I don't have the TVC Dooku on a stand, so a little bit of a height difference. But yeah, they're pretty close. They're about the same height. I definitely think the TVC Dooku is the better looking of the two. But from a utilitarian standpoint, this is a really good Dooku for the Legacy Collection. He's definitely made to fit on a speeder. But I'm glad I have both of them in my collection. Both are good in their own ways. So would I recommend this Legacy Collection Dooku for your collection? If you only want one Count Dooku for your collection, I would suggest either the TVC one or the Revenge of the Sith one. But if you're a big fan of Count Dooku, then yes, it's a very nice action figure to have. If you want one that's a little more utilitarian, as I pointed out, this is probably the ideal Dooku for your collection. Most of them have plastic skirts, while this one has the soft goods. He has the articulation, and as I mentioned, because of the flow of his cape here, I think that looks good for a wave effect if he's riding a speeder. It's a very thick material for this cape as well. Definitely a much more thicker cape for him than any of the other Dookus we've gotten over the years. Most of them are, just about all of them are soft goods, but they're very flimsy. And then the ones that are plastic can sometimes be flimsy as well. It's even a much thicker material than the TBC cape there. But it's a pretty good Dooku. Is it the best of the best? No, but it's definitely in the top 3, I would say. Between this one, TBC, and Revenge of the Sith, I would say those are the 3 contenders for best Count Dooku. Anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support, and check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. Of course, as always, thanks for watching.